It was a quiet Monday afternoon when Jaden stepped into the opulent marble lobby of the Royal Palms Grand Hotel. The space glistened under chandeliers, the scent of expensive cologne, fresh orchids, and polished wood lingering in the air. Jaden, just 13, stood confidently at the entrance, clutching a small overnight bag and his mother's phone. He had a reservation with his mother, Dr. Lisa Washington, who was parking the car. Jaden's posture was upright, his demeanor calm, but as a young black boy in a luxury hotel, he was already being watched. Mr. Carter, the front desk manager in his early 50s with slicked back gray hair and a suit 2 sizes too tight, eyed Jaden with thinly veiled suspicion. He had worked in the hotel business for 2 decades and believed he could identify trouble the moment it walked in. To him, Jaden was trouble. Mr. Carter approached him, forced smile barely hiding his condescension. "Can I help you, young man?" Jaden turned to face him. "I'm just waiting for my mom." She went to park the car. "We have a reservation." "I see. Are you a guest here?" "My mom is checking us in. We've had issues with people loitering." "I'll need you to wait outside." "I'm just waiting." "She said I should stay here." "You need to wait outside," Mr. Carter said again, more forcefully. Jaden hesitated, unsure of what to do. A few people nearby took notice. Embarrassed and confused, he picked up his bag and walked slowly out the doors. Outside, the warm wind ruffled his hoodie as he stood awkwardly near the entrance. Several bellhops gave him curious glances but said nothing. 10 minutes later, a sleek black car pulled up, and out stepped Dr. Lisa Washington, a tall woman with striking confidence, dressed in a navy blue suit and heels that clicked with purpose. "Jaden, why are you outside?" she asked. He explained what had happened. Her jaw clenched. She marched into the hotel with Jaden beside her, her eyes scanning for the man who had dared embarrass her son. She found Mr. Carter standing behind the front desk speaking with a couple. "Excuse me," she said sharply. He turned. "I'm Dr. Lisa Washington. Did you tell my son to leave the lobby?" "Ma'am, he said he wasn't checked in." "We have policies about." "He told you I was checking in." "You saw a black boy and assumed he didn't belong." "I didn't." "Don't finish that sentence," she said coldly. "Get me your general manager." The lobby fell into a hush. Mr. Carter stiffened and quickly picked up the phone. Within minutes, a woman in her 40s wearing a hotel badge and an anxious smile walked over. "Dear Washington, I'm Ms. Ramirez, the general manager. Can we step into my office?" Inside, Lisa recounted the incident. Jaden sat quietly, watching his mother with a mix of pride and anger. Ms. Ramirez apologized profusely, promised corrective action, and offered to comp the stay. Lisa refused the comp. "I'm not here for freebies. I want accountability." The next morning, Dr. Washington took the stage at a diversity and equity summit held in the hotel. She shared what had happened, not in anger, but in purpose. "My son was taught yesterday that even when you belong, the world might try to convince you that you don't. But that's why we must take up space, speak our truth, and never shrink to fit someone else's comfort." The audience applauded. Journalists picked up the story. A video of her speech circulated online, gaining traction. Within hours, the hotel was trending for all the wrong reasons. Calls came in. Emails poured. Reviews dropped. By the end of the week, Mr. Carter was gone. The hotel issued a formal public apology. Dr. Washington's speech was rebroadcast on several news networks. Jaden learned more than he ever expected on that trip: the power of speaking up, the cost of dignity, and how his mother refused to let anyone make him feel small. As they checked out of the hotel days later, the entire staff lined up to apologize. Jaden looked each one in the eye, standing a little taller than before. And Lisa, without saying a word, reminded them all what real strength looked like. But the story didn't end there. A few days after they returned home, Lisa received an email from a teacher in Minnesota. The teacher had shown Lisa's speech to her class of seventh graders. One student, a quiet girl who had been bullied, stood up after the video and shared her own story. The teacher thanked Lisa for being the voice that unlocked someone else's courage. That was the beginning. Soon, letters started arriving, handwritten notes, emails, even artwork. Children, parents, educators, all writing to share their stories and how Lisa's stand gave them strength. One boy wrote, "Your son is lucky to have you. I hope one day I can speak up like you." Jaden and Lisa were invited to speak at schools, town halls, and panels. What had started as a moment of prejudice became a movement of empowerment. Jaden, once shy and cautious in public spaces, now carried himself like a young man aware of his worth. Lisa encouraged him to tell his side of the story in his own words. He did. At a youth leadership conference, Jaden took the stage. The room of teenagers fell silent as he stood behind the podium. When I was told to leave the lobby, I felt like I didn't matter, but my mom showed me that I do. And now, I want to remind every kid in this room, you belong, no matter where you are. His words went viral. A video clip of his speech was picked up by national media. Major networks invited the Washingtons for interviews. Lisa kept the focus on education, on equity, and on building a world where no child would be treated the way her son had been. Meanwhile, Royal Palms Grand Hotel underwent changes. A diversity and inclusion consultant was hired. Staff were required to undergo bias training. The general manager started a monthly town hall for employees to share feedback and experiences. Mr. Carter's replacement, a woman named Denise Fields, instituted a mentorship program for young people interested in hospitality careers. One day, months later, Jaden and Lisa returned to the hotel, not as guests, but as honored speakers for a hospitality conference hosted there. Denise greeted them warmly and introduced them to the new front desk staff. Jaden recognized one of the bellhops who had been silent that day. He walked up to Jaden and said quietly, "I should have said something." "I'm sorry." Jaden nodded. "Thank you." At the conference, Lisa gave a keynote address titled, "Belonging Beyond the Welcome." She spoke not just of race, but of respect, of how we often look past children, how adults wield power carelessly, and how one mother standing firm had sparked a ripple effect. Afterward, Jaden was asked what he learned from the entire journey. He thought for a long moment before saying, "I learned that one voice is loud, but two together echo longer. I'm lucky my mom was my second voice. And I'll be that voice for someone else one day." Applause filled the ballroom. Outside, the same marble lobby gleamed in the evening light. But it no longer felt like a place he didn't belong. It felt like part of his story, a story still being written, one brave word at a time. And yet the story only grew from there. Months later, Jaden was selected as a youth ambassador for a national anti-discrimination campaign, sharing stages with activists and public figures who admired his courage. He began mentoring younger kids through a local community group, telling them that their voice mattered, that their identity was not a burden but a badge of strength. Dr. Washington used her growing platform to publish a best-selling book titled Strength in Silence, A Mother's Stand, where she detailed not only the hotel incident, but the lifelong journey of raising a child to walk boldly in a world that didn't always see his worth. The book became a centerpiece in college courses on race, parenting, and public advocacy. One evening, Jaden and Lisa were invited to the White House to meet with national leaders to discuss inclusive policy in public spaces. Jaden stood inside the East Room, giving a short address to an audience that included senators, educators, and civil rights icons. "We didn't ask for this journey, but we didn't run from it either. My mom taught me that real power isn't loud, it's clear, steady, and unstoppable." The crowd gave him a standing ovation. A documentary was soon produced, chronicling their experience. Titled Echoes in the Lobby, it followed the arc from that single discriminatory act to the national movement they helped shape. Viewers across the country saw how a moment of pain was transformed into purpose, and how a child found his strength beside a mother who never wavered. Back in their neighborhood, Jaden remained grounded. He still helped his neighbors carry groceries, still played basketball with friends, still studied hard at school. But now, when he walked into any room, he didn't wonder if he belonged. He knew he did. And when he saw another child looking nervous or unsure, he walked over, not with pity, but with power, and simply said, "You're good. Come on." Because the fight wasn't over. The world still had corners of silence and shadows of bias. But now, thanks to a single voice that refused to be dismissed and the echo it created, there were more lights in the dark. Jaden was one of those lights. And in every speech, every quiet conversation, every firm step forward, he honored the moment his mother stood up for him, not just to protect, but to propel him into becoming someone others could look to. The hotel lobby was no longer just a place. It had become a symbol, a spark, a story of awakening that started in rejection and ended in resilience.